No, don't start.
Why am I not seeing the tweet?
It's out there. I saw it.
Weird. Okay.
Come on, that was funny. That was funny. I waved back like I was dad.
You're not dad.
Are you sure about that?
Uh-huh.
Do you have Harry Mack playing?
No.
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 1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it, my words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it, you know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly, we ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
Now when you stop sharing the screen, and then you look at me like, what are you doing?
I am sharing the screen.
Why is the Zencaster screen on mine is all blurred?
I know I had to stop the recording and start it again, so I don't know.
Oh, is that
Refresh.
what happened? Okay.
I mean, it shows you all you guys in there, so I wasn't really worried about it.
Okay, I'm worried about it because it's blurry. I thought my vision had gone really bad, really freaking fast.
We'll refresh and see if that takes care of it.
I'm bad.
I don't care. I mean, I'll just keep it in the background as long as you say it's okay.
No, refresh it because it something was screwed up.
Allow audio playback. Click. I don't want playback.
Just say yes.
No, I don't want playback. All right, ready to record.
Eric's
failing
the health checks.
He always does that.
I'm not failing. I passed with warning. Kind of like going to see the real doctor. It's like, yeah, you're not healthy, but you're not, healthy.
You aren't dead. But one day.
All right, are we ready this time?
Yes, we're ready now. Go. Hurry up.
Is it time for bed yet?
You're listening to episode 296 of the PHPUgly podcast. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and we get together on a weekly basis, me and a couple of my friends, I guess, work friends, associates, whatever you want to call them.
People you're
but
stuck
more
with.
importantly, we have a great crew in our Discord channel, discord.phpugly.com. Come join us, hang out with us. We're in there all week. Great conversations. Friends are made, dinners are had, all sorts of fun things happen.
So somehow Discord just got second billing.
And more importantly, our Patreons. Patreon.com/PHPUgly. These people are very important to us. We're going to circle back around on them in a little while. And as well as big thanks to our sponsor, honeybadger.io. And again, we'll talk about them in a little bit. But first, let me introduce you to the rest of the menage a trois of PHP goodness that you're in for tonight.
Nope, that's not what it is.
This man looked at the cost of a flight on Spirit Airline and said, "No way, man, I'm not paying that," and proceeded to strap some bed sheets to his back and run around the field. John Congdon.
Where did that come from? So I'm trying to get this straight. My third or fourth
Next,
billing now.
We have a man who has a secret room in his house filled with red yarn and cork boards tracking all the Laravel releases and trying to understand it all. Tom Rideout.
Hello. Actually, the corkboard's gotten very simple now since everything I work on is Greenfield because I don't have a job.
I'm sorry, John. I interrupted you interrupting my intros. So what
not
were you
at
saying?
all. Nothing. It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
That was an amazing opening. I loved the opening. I was just trying to figure out, did I get fourth billing, fifth billing, or sixth billing in the grand scheme of things?
You know, just be happy you're on the list, man. You're making the list still. You're still there. We're still talking about you.
Yeah, you still got your own window here in OBS.
I got bad news for you guys. I've been thinking all day how I was going to tell you this, and I figured we're just going to start the show off. We're going to rip that Band-Aid off, and we're going to get it out of the way right now.
You lost the other one?
Nope. This is it for me. This is going to be my last show. I will not be doing a podcast anymore. I purchased my Mega Million lottery ticket today, which is actually up to $1 billion. So technically, still tracks. $1 billion is a lot of millions.
1,000 of them, yeah.
I'm really planning on just winning that tomorrow. So it's been nice knowing you all. Peace out. But let's wrap up the show. We're going to do one more show.
So you actually wasted money on a lottery ticket. You realize just because the amount of money that you win goes up does not make your odds any better. It actually probably remains the same.
That's my favorite thing about the lottery.
Are my odds better if I didn't play? No, they're not.
So the fun thing about lottery, do you know how when the cigarette companies got sued and they had to take all this money and start all these ad campaigns against smoking? The lottery is very similar. How the money that you put into the lottery is spent on education, where they're basically just trying to get you to not go in the lottery anymore.
Your point being what exactly? After I win, you guys don't want to be my friends anymore? Is that what I'm hearing? You won't approve of the way I made my millions?
I will literally feel just more obligated to be your friend.
So did you pull the, what was it, Raising Cane, where you spent 8 hours printing 50,000 tickets?
I have no idea what that is. No, I'm definitely a random guy. Just give me a ticket so I can get out of here.
I guess
feel dirty.
I think the CEO or somebody I think it was Raising Cane.
Yeah, it was Raising Cane's.
Bought 50,000 tickets and has agreed that if they win, they're splitting the money with all the employees.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll
and immediately putting the company out of business.
People in Diego Dev, do not get your hopes up.
I think if you won $1 billion, you could do a little something. Just saying.
Yeah, but would you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
I know
the
Eric.
cash out is only $600 million. Then you got taxes and all that. So, I mean, when it's all said and done, we're really only talking about like maybe $300 million.
Or just don't cash out and take your yearly pay.
No, that is way worse for you.
Yeah, I hear that's the wrong way to do it.
That is absolutely the wrong way to do it.
What do I?
All right.
So
Come on, I got scotch in the glass, guys. Scotch in the glass. When this scotch is gone,
well,
that means
you know you've made a good financial decision.
That money you spent on lottery tickets could have gone to more scotch.
You'll notice how smooth things are on the screen right now, how well the intro played. I did something I've been promising to do for a long time.
Oh, please tell me you rebuilt your machine. That will explain a lot here.
So it turns out when an SSD runs out of good sectors, it just turns into a read-only device, which your operating system is not good at dealing with. So yes, I did rebuild my machine finally.
With a new SSD?
No, actually, as it turns out, I'm unemployed, so I just borrowed a friend's hard drive. Like,
so you made the right financial decision?
Well, yes.
Okay, I'm going to be real honest with you right now, and I hate to say it right because we are pretty far into the show, but your mic's not sounding great.
It sounds fine. What are you talking about?
It sounds fine.
It sounds fine when you keep your voice down.
I've done like 4 interviews today on this microphone, so don't even start telling me that.
How are the job prospects looking?
You know, it's an interesting process. This week has been the first initial interviews. Next week is going to be the secondary and tertiary interviews and the offers. So
you still looking for the IT director or
CTO? No,
positions?
I passed on that. Those are real hard to come by for somebody who's never done it before. Mm-hmm. And they want you to be real specific about like your knowledge in this area, and they want you to go through Scrum Manager stuff. And like I don't have all the lingo down all the way.
I can say that I was CTO before because I could put anything I wanted on my business card, and that's what I put.
So I'm really just looking to get back into coding. I've done some coding tests that I sort of just went, I guess this thing.
Coding tests terrify me. They absolutely terrify me. I don't think I could pass a coding test.
I came up with a solution for myself, which is to build an empty Laravel installation that has a nice way of displaying a simple application, and it already has Vue and Electron installed and ready to go, and already has Tailwinds configured and drawing everything. So I've built up this little prettifier thing for myself so that my tests don't just look like an Excel spreadsheet. So that's one thing I've been putting my time into.
So when you're doing the interview, are you live coding? Like,
I did one live coding interview, which was interesting. Now I have to say, all of these interviews start with somebody saying, "Whoa, got a DJ here." Nice, it's quite a setup with that microphone. And I say yes. The first sentence of my resume says I have a podcast I've been doing for 200 and something episodes. And they go, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing that." Anyways, and this is like,
can you mix me a little something
5-6 times a day, and had one interview that went for about an hour, and then he asked me about my salary expectations, and he said, "Ooh boy, we can't reach that." And
I apologized after I said it. I'm sorry.
Well, I was like, I got recommended this position by somebody who knew my salary expectations. How did she not properly communicate that all the way across the line? It was from one person to one other person. So
you wasted an hour, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and then a lot of.
Or did you learn something from it?
I did. He's a cool guy. A lot of full stack stuff, which I've said explicitly, like to everybody. I don't do full stack.
Just say you do full stack. You do full stack. For crying out loud.
Don't wanna. I don't want to do CSS ever. I hate it. I hate it so much. Even with Tailwinds, which is pretty nice to work with, I just hate it. Flexbox, have you seen how stupid that thing is?
I don't do front end, so no, I haven't.
Yeah, no, it's a core component of front end development, and it's stupid. I hate it. And I got code tests that are like, hey, we know your back end, just throw together whatever front end you want for this. And I was like, all right, boot up Postman. That's your front end.
Hey, man, I was just telling you about this.
I'll send you a Postman collection.
Listen to your brother every now and then.
Postman was driving me crazy today.
Oh, it can be a mess.
Well, no, it turns out it wasn't Postman, but working
with you could just drive a person crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Debugging an issue with Postman, I'm hitting this post endpoint, and I'm getting back a collection as if I did a get. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And I'm fighting it. I'm able to step debug it, even though it's in production, because there's a production machine that has Xdebug Cloud on it. And I get to the part where it's saying, what type of request is this? And it's a get. And I'm like, I don't understand how this is happening this way. I fired up on using curl instead of Postman, and I get a completely different error, and it's just driving me insane. I get somebody else on Zoom looking at it with me. They're actually jumping on Cloudflare looking at the logs. It turns out it never been caught in this collection that it was HTTP instead of HTTPS. So once it got to Cloudflare and got redirected, it turned into a get. I'm like, son of a, you got to be kidding me. The time I just wasted on that drove me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that this experience has taught me is the internet is stupid.
Or we're stupid because we don't know what it's doing.
No, it's the whole internet.
Even when we know what it's doing, we just don't think about those things.
It's the whole thing. Companies that hire people, it's awful. Companies that post resumes and jobs, they're just terrible to work with. I'm trying to sort through who I've got phone calls with, and I swear the mentality is that the recruiters think that you're the only one that they're talking to. And I've had a bunch of people ask me, like, "Sir, are you looking at other positions?" And I said, "Well, I just told you I got laid off last Tuesday, so yeah, all of them. There are a lot, and I have phone calls every day, all day, and emails every day. Like, my phone starts ringing at 9:00, and then I'm working from then on until 7:00. I've been working more since I got laid off.
Would you do on site?
No.
Even if it was a mile away from your house?
Nah, there's no such thing. There's nothing a mile away from my house that isn't a bar.
Bars need websites.
You would think so? They're surprisingly cheap about it.
Well, good luck with the
very
with the
interested
process.
To follow up on this journey as the weeks go on.
Wait,
and I have a feeling
tonight's
it's
your
going
last
to be
show.
weeks.
Weeks aren't going to
Tonight's
go
your
on.
last show.
No, weeks are not going to go on. It's going to be wrapped
months
up.
as the months go on.
No, I don't.
He's not going to be here anyway to listen to it, so I'm hoping to hear next week about the job you land.
He's still editing. That's the thing he hasn't told you. He'll win the $1 billion, but he'll still edit the podcast.
Oh man!
Good luck with that.
So, John, I meant to ask you. I was, we're getting ready to release the next next edition of PHP
Issue.
Architect. Next issue. There you go. Next issue of PHP Architect. We got a lot of great stuff in there. A lot of great stuff. We've already done a podcast. Already released a podcast. So
and it was talked about in our Discord channel. How awesome was that?
it was. Yeah, that's pretty cool. People say that they're liking that. It's a lot of work for John and I. Like, it's a lot. At least for me, it's a lot of stress because.
Oh, you should try getting laid off. It makes things easier around the house. I did the litter box today. It was a very productive day.
But I meant to ask you on the podcast, and I forgot the good podcast, the PHP podcast. But who do you think won the poll on how fast a Vim article was going to hit PHP Architect after I started picking articles? Because, I felt like I held out pretty long. I didn't hold out an entire year, but I got pretty close to an entire year.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
Was there a pool? I don't remember that.
I just feel like there would have been. Like,
Oh, there was.
I feel like there would have been a pool on that and Livewire.
Livewire, I'm working on. You know that. I'm using Livewire now.
So you got to write an article? You need money. We pay for articles.
If you're
don't have the time.
We if you're down with the Livewire, man, you were just talking about configuring those Laravel apps, man. Learn that TAW stack. Learn that TAW preset. There's a whole preset of TAW that does the Livewire, Tailwind, Alpine JS for you.
Yeah.
Up and running.
So that's one of the things that's in my little application framework that I built up is Livewire. And it's interesting. Yeah, I had an interview where he said, well, do you know Vue or JavaScript or React, stuff like that? And I said, I know it. I just don't do it. But if it's something that you just want me to throw together, I can do it with Livewire, and it works just as well. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, it doesn't matter what you use, just as long as the front end component gets made. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll do the whole thing in PHP and say that it's a reactive front end.
I could throw jQuery in there like the best of them. Why not?
I could.
Eric,
I couldn't even.
How's coding been for you this week?
It's fine.
Must be nice.
Wrote some tests.
I know you told me you were doing some testing and asked for some advice. I was very happy to hear you were testing even down to your value objects.
Oh, thank you, Dad. I'm happy I made you proud.
I'm proud of you. Good job.
Is this the event sourcing? You say value objects. I hear event sourcing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is event sourcing. Although, I mean, the value objects don't need to be event sourcing thing, but yeah.
No, they don't at all.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on value objects. I want to like them. Like I do want to like them, but it's just so much additional code.
It's not that much additional code.
Oh my god! Yes, it is.
Once you start,
you're managing your code base at that point.
No, once you get past testing value objects, when you get into testing your actual business logic, it is so much nicer. Because, again, as I keep saying, as long as you get a valid object into your class, the value object takes care of validating itself. You no longer have to validate, is my address valid? Your value object should do that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, if I didn't have value objects, which again I'm coming around on, but I'm not quite there yet as far as embracing them and saying, oh, this is all I'm using moving forward. But if I weren't using that, I would still be validating in my business logic that when I test it, I would.
To a point, but take your address, for example. If you use your address in more than one place, now you need validation in more than one place. When you have it in 20 places, you're now doing validation across the board versus, if I pass in an address object, it's valid because the validation happened in there. And when it comes to testing, all you're doing is saying, I'm passing in a mock of this object, so I know it's valid, and you make sure that all the proper calls are made on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting there. Like you said, I'm getting there. The one thing about the event sourcing that we're doing, and again, some of this is self-inflicted as well, because I really wanted to do the single responsibility sort of approach with the code, because there's a lot of that in event sourcing. So even like my controllers that I could have easily done, even a resourceful controller, I could have done that. Even those, I'm making just invocable controllers. So there's just like it just seems like there's so much code littered all over the place to just do one thing. Like, oh yeah, I got to go here, then I got to go there, and then this has got to invoke this and this. And
Once
I'm like,
once you embrace that, it is really nice when it comes to not just testing but maintaining. It's nicer. I understand. I had that same thought. Like, there's so many classes, there's just so much code all over the place. But I went from having class files that had 2,000 lines to now having class files that have 30 lines,
yeah,
and
that's
there's
about
more
where I'm
responsibility.
clocking in. At,
Yeah, and a lot of the testing you're doing outside of the value objects right now is more integration testing. You're using Laravel's test framework where you're hitting an endpoint. So you're going through all the code. When you start doing unit testing, you need to mock objects. And again, the validation piece is already done for you because validation is done on the value object. I'm going to keep beating this drum until it hits
I hear
home.
you. Yeah, you do. You kind of do. That's fine.
Well, you don't really need to, though.
I'm
That's
getting
the
there.
thing is that Eric is now locked in and required to do it this way.
Oh yeah. We're. I mean, if I really had to, because we only have like the main part of the code is event source, but it's like there's like one aggregator right now. I think there's still just one aggregator. So if I really needed to back out, I mean, in theory, I could do that. I feel like I could do that. I'm not wanting to do that. I have no desire to do that, but yeah, I'm kind of bought into it, and I am liking it. Like it's these peaks and valleys. I'm loving it. I something clicks. I'm like, oh yeah, I get this. And then I go to do something else, and it's like something breaks somewhere. It's like, oh crap, where did this break? That's just I'm having peaks and valleys, but you always go through that when you
what we need, what we
new
should,
patterns.
at some point, we should start looking at event source testing. So you actually unit test your aggregate, because with their test framework around it, you set up the aggregate in a certain way. So you can say, given that I've created this thing, given that I've
Oh my
set
God,
value,
there's more testing.
there's more testing. There's always more testing.
Yeah, but what about the project management?
Let's just get the application done. We're running out of time.
No, don't talk like that. We got plenty of time. We'll get it done.
All right.
If you need some help, I've got time on my hands.
But do you have money on your hands to pay yourself?
And do you know event sourcing? Because
I don't.
You see the problem here, right?
Yes.
Funny.
Right. Okay, so I have a ticket on my Trello board, and I wanted to present you guys with. This is actually something on this project I'm working on. Like I said, the whole project's not event sourced, but there's event source component, but there's also your normal CRUD stuff. And this client that we're working with is very accustomed to their customers being able to undelete things and roll things back, right? And so historically, and what I implemented was soft deletes, right? This is a very common practice in coding and in Laravel. Like Laravel Eloquent is built with the concept of soft deletes, so you really don't have to do a lot of extra work when you use soft deletes. It just kind of Eloquent just kind of magically handles it for you. But I came across this article talking about why soft deletes are probably not worth it, and I just wanted to get your opinions because I don't think we've ever had this talk. Now, I mentioned soft deletes, I think, a couple weeks ago, and somebody griped at me. I think it was you, Tom. I was like, ugh, why are you doing that? And I'm like, oh, it's just a thing that I'm doing. I didn't think it was that bad.
I love soft deletes.
You're a fan of soft deletes.
Yeah.
I may have been that way.
Okay.
Only
so
because
what's your problem with soft deletes? And I'm not going to quiz you on this article because I know you might not have read it.
I mean, we'll go in general. What's your problem?
Well, where do I start?
Buddy.
Back when I was 4. No. So I don't use soft deletes per se, but in the application I work on, we just don't delete much data.
Mm-hmm.
Most of that's because reporting breaks when you delete that data. So now we have 15 plus years of records that are now useless. And we're talking hundreds of millions of records. So it makes queries very slow for people that have a ton of contacts. Now we're trying to get better as far as indexing and moving things around, but with the current schema of the database, that became problematic because of the way the joins were done. The query was done on the main table, but whether the record was deleted or not was in another table. So now you're joining a table on millions of records and then getting rid of the deleted records.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's a problem with the schema in general, but also having so much data that isn't even being used.
Right. So let me back up a little bit because I do want to remind us that we're not all everyday developers, and there might be people listening to the show that don't even know what a soft delete is. So if you're not familiar with what soft deletes are, you understand databases and records get written to the database, and when you typically delete a record out of a database, that record is gone. In the world of a soft delete, it doesn't actually go away. You have another typically there's a couple of ways to do it, but the most common way is you have another column in your table that says deleted at, and you give it a timestamp, and if you're looking for a record and it has a deleted at timestamp, then your code treats that record as gone, and it only displays it if you want to display deleted records.
And so by default, Eloquent does that, right?
Exactly.
It takes deleted at as null.
Right. So if when you do in Laravel, when you do your gets or first or any database call you do, Eloquent already accounts for deleted at records and says, okay, I'm not going to show these records because they're deleted. Now you have to enable soft deletes on the model. It's not enabled by default, so it is something you have to do. And then if you want to see it, you go, I think it's with trash is what it's called or something like that.
Yeah.
So this particular article, and it's in our Discord. Again, if you want to join our Discord, fantastic resource, great people in there. Discord.phpugly.com. Conversation goes on all week long. But he basically kind of says some of the drawbacks. In this individual turned out not to be a fan of soft deletes, and his kind of the way he puts that kind of hit me the wrong way, but I'll get to that here in a second.
He is very wrong. Let's just put that out there. The article,
okay.
every argument in the article is incorrect.
No, not every article.
I read all of the. He breaks it down into 3 basic arguments, and each one of them is fundamentally flawed.
Let's talk about that then. All right, let's talk about the different arguments. So the first. I don't know what the first one was. I wasn't expecting to go this way. Let me just tell you what I remember. Okay, go ahead.
The first argument here is what he calls code leakage, which means that you have to remember to add deleted at is null to all of your queries.
But he later goes on and says a lot of ORMs handle this for you, which is
So
what
it's not
we're
actually
talking
an
about with
issue.
Eloquent.
Well,
Right?
it's an
Yeah.
issue. It's an issue if you're
if your
coding
framework-
the soft delete yourself.
Yeah,
Well,
if the
and it's
framework
also,
doesn't support
and
it, it's an
he
issue.
does say it is an issue when you're doing those queries on the server. Like if you're doing SQL queries on your server looking for data, it becomes an issue again, because then you have to remember, oh yeah, I don't want deleted that data.
Well, it's hard to forget though, because that column that has a value shows up in your results. I mean,
Yeah, but
I think it's valid. I think that
It's-
part's valid when
it's-
he said that.
sure, it's valid unless you're using an ORM for everything and you're doing it the right way, which most
so
people have now.
you don't write any hard coded SQL. You do everything through an ORM.
Do
Well,
I do.
It's not even writing hard coded SQL. We all get to the command prompt and do a MySQL and then start looking through tables and databases and stuff.
And you know what I've run into from that is two of the same record, but one of them is deleted. And identifying
you have to
no,
remember that.
but identifying that, oh, there is a bug here I wasn't aware of because one of the records is deleted and the other one isn't. Something went wrong, and then I can track down where the thing went wrong because I have deleted at as a timestamp.
That's fine when you're running a query and you're looking at the results. But if I'm writing a new feature and I do need a query where I write the query out versus using the ORM, and my test data doesn't have deleted at, I may not see that as I'm writing the feature. Now I put that into production. That's leakage.
But you wouldn't do that with Laravel. With Laravel, you wouldn't just start writing.
Not everybody's
queries.
using Laravel. You got to
Right.
remember.
Right.
I mean, you could do it with Laravel.
You
could be doing it with Laravel.
But you wouldn't. That's bad
Okay, let's
practice.
move on.
So moving on.
So
Losing foreign
key
keys.
This is what I'm curious about. How do you feel that this is not a valid issue? Because I see it very much.
Well,
as a
because
valid
the
issue.
first sentence is completely wrong. The consequence of soft deletion is that foreign keys are effectively lost. That's absolutely not true.
You're right. That's not true. But
you get the cascading behavior of foreign keys is lost, but the foreign key is still a valid index that is still used to join data. You're not like losing something functional there. You're getting the index still.
So this is the problem I have with my database schema is I have to use a foreign key and I'm pulling back 3 million records and throwing away 2.5 million to be left with, 500,000 records because I'm joining on a table that has soft deletes.
Right. And in the case of Laravel, if you ever reference a model, in the case of most ORMs that handle soft deletes, you don't do that. Your model automatically accounts for it.
But if you are selecting from the main table and you soft delete something on the second table, you have to pull back all of that data. And then when you say and yes, you do.
Pretty sure you do.
Yes, you do.
No, on any model that has the soft delete trait, whenever that table is queried, it'll automatically reference the soft deletes.
Right. But the way the query happens on MySQL or any other database is I'm selecting from the main table. I join my second table. If that table has 3 million records in it, MySQL has to scan 3 million records and say, and deleted at is null.
Right.
That's slow. That's what they're talking about with you're basically losing foreign keys because you still have this major table scan that's happening.
Oh yeah, you absolutely have a major table scan. The same is true.
That's all they're talking about.
The same is true if you just don't write your database correctly and have a correct index on the things you're searching against.
No, I agree.
You get to 10 million records, things are going to be slow if it's configured incorrectly. That's got nothing to do with soft deletes. Soft deletes are just another feature that you have to account for in your indexing systems. But if you have a table that has soft deletes and you don't have an index on your deleted at column, that's on you, man. Like you screwed up.
Well, no, but in my case, I have a column that says remove that is indexed, but it's still a very slow join between table A and table B because it still has to look through all of those records. It still has to deal with all of the conditions in there. Again, I'm pulling when I say this, I'm pulling 3 million records out of the main table and then joining the second table that says, hey, is this data really deleted or not?
It's only
it's a bad schema.
It's only kind of like that because in actual practice, a table that has a date stamp, but you're only checking for if it's null, is going to have a very fast index on checking for is null. Now, if you were checking for a specific date or date range where something was deleted, yes, that will be slow. But the index on something where you're checking if it's null or not null is actually a very fast index.
Right. I keep realizing my issue is a little different in I'm pulling from table A, but whether it's deleted or not is in table B.
Yeah, and
that's the issue.
In practicality.
I think that's a real issue.
That is a real issue, except
but it's a schema
that
issue.
Usually the schema for a soft deleted record is that the parent of all of these things is the one that has the soft delete on it, and all of the relationships to it don't have a soft delete on them. They just get they just get childless or abandoned.
Sarah has my back.
Okay. I think I'm going to agree with you on the last one, Tom, as far as pruning data becomes harder.
That's the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm
because
not sure
pruning data where deleted at is not null is the easiest way. Like you have it flagged for pruning. That's what it does.
Or better yet, you can even prune things of, if it's been deleted for over a month, sort of thing, right? So the thing I did want to ask you, since you seem very passionate about soft deletes, I'm happy to hear it because I've been on the fence with soft deletes for a long time. I use them, but I'm not sure if I'm happy using them, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because it always ends up biting me in the ass in some form or fashion. When I do data validation and I have a field that needs to be unique, that deleted data still impacts that. So if you have a table where all the emails need to be unique, for example, or our name, let's say emails are easier, and somebody goes in there and soft deletes the record with an email, and later on somebody tries to insert another record with that same email, that unique validation is going to trigger. And you're like, well, wait a minute, why is this triggering?
That is both a bug and a feature.
Okay. Well,
the feature being that if somebody deletes a user and the user tries to make an account with the same email again, they will get told no.
But suppose it's not an email, right? Suppose it's a phone number or a name of an event or something like that, right? Where it's just like maybe the one that got deleted is now deleted because it's an event that happened in the past, but next year the Comic-Con is going to be Comic-Con again. So they want another event named Comic-Con, and it won't allow them because...
so far, all the arguments are, but what if I did my schema wrong? Like, that's all you guys have said is like, what if I screwed up my schema and now my schema is screwed up and soft deletes exist? That's all the arguments.
I'm not sure how that's a schema issue, though.
Don't put a unique ID on something that could be a duplicate. That's a schema issue. Like, don't say this column must be unique when there could be a Comic-Con happening again after you delete last year's. It's now here's my biggest issue with the end of the article where the person
so many issues.
The person clearly isn't thinking things through. He says very clearly, when I worked at Stripe, we used soft deletion.
And Heroku. Yeah. This is the statement that killed me. He's like, hey, in all my time working at these big companies, we've never used it.
Like, what Stripe is required to do is keep all data that's sent because they're processing transactions. So if a record is deleted, you have to keep that information because it's an audit log for money. Just the fact that you're
not get around this.
You not being in the auditing. You not being in the auditing.
Say the words. Say the words, Shawn.
Event source.
Event source, an alternate version of soft deletion. where all the data still exists, but there's an event that occurred that calls it deleted.
Yep.
It's the same thing. You just have it stored in the column instead of stored in an event table.
Until you want to do what Eric's talking about, where he's like, well, I'm going to have another. When I go to see if it already exists, it doesn't exist because it's been deleted.
Well, that's the thing about event sourcing is it leads to code leakage, losing your foreign keys, and pruning data gets hard.
So
there are a lot of
a new article by Tom.
This is why I don't like the article, because he says that when I worked at Stripe, we used soft deletion, and as far as I'm aware, never once in 10 plus years did anyone at any of those places ever actually use soft deletion to undelete something. You stated you have a client who requires soft deletion to undelete stuff because their customers do it. So who cares what this guy says? Like, it's a requirement of the project because that's what customers do, undelete stuff. And I'm sorry that like you weren't in the auditing department where you were going through the logs of deleted things and making sure that the transactions were actually functioning correctly. But somebody at Stripe definitely looked at the deleted items on a regular basis to make sure things were being processed and handled correctly. Like, you didn't do it, but that doesn't mean someone didn't do it. I've generated plenty of reports about deleted items. I've undeleted stuff.
Right. But what's your opinion on his alternative method of having a separate table to host all your deleted information?
It is an amazing claim, given that he just said it ruins your foreign keys, pruning data is hard, and there's code leakage. Because he's basically saying dump it into the trash can and don't ever look at the trash can again unless you absolutely have to, which loses all concept of foreign keys, pruning data. It's just like, now we have a garbage can, and when you delete something, it actually writes several new records to a new table that no one references. Like,
but it does stop the things he's talking about.
It doesn't stop the foreign key issue. It doesn't stop the.
Yes, it does. It stops that. It stops the data leak, the leakage.
No, but now you have a new leakage. Is when you delete something, you have to have a mirror table that doesn't have foreign keys against the other child data that is referenced.
But the point is, you're not referencing that table. There doesn't have to be.
Why have the table?
So if you want to get the data back, you can get it back.
But in 10 years, he's never needed the data back.
You got a point there. I'm not saying you're wrong in that. He
invented a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. And the solution is let's make more tables and fracture the database even further.
The important thing to take away from all this, Tom, is you know what a good solution is?
Honey Badger transforms you into a DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and cron monitoring into a single, easy-to-use platform. Stop wasting your time tailing logs and deploy with Swagger. Visit honeybadger.io today to level up.
3 minutes in?
Yeah, that's
Thank you, Honey Badger.
Thank you, Honey Badger. What's that?
Thank you, Honey Badger. Holy crap, we're having some behind-the-scene conversation. What the hell happened to Honey Badger? Did you
it's the short one again. It's the 15-second one.
Well, that would have been good to know going into this.
The Honey Badger ad this week is the short one.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a mental note of that when we get to it.
Yeah, when I ended up rebuilding my system,
thank you, Sevi.
I think I lost the old video.
And thank you, Honey Badger.
Thank you, Honey Badger.
You couldn't have lost the old video. It's in Dropbox. Did you soft delete it maybe? Could that have been the problem? Maybe you soft deleted it? I'll find it for you.
No, and one of the great things here is the complete lack of understanding for why people soft delete stuff. Like, it's soft deletion is not just for deleting it but keeping it hidden. It can be used in many ways that are not necessarily deleted. It can be expired data that you still want to keep, but you want to run reports on your expired data versus your current data, where you can use the trash variable for it. You know, I've had situations where I've used deleted at for events that have concluded, and I'm generating based off of a concluded situation around an event. all data is bad. It's not the people that are bad at it.
Sarah Goldman, who's
people
in
are bad
our
at
Discord.
data too.
Actually,
She's not in
Sarah's
Discord. She's
in our
on YouTube.
YouTube, yeah, but it all comes to Discord. She's in Discord. She just chooses to not join us. That's
yet another
fine.
platform she's banned from.
I'm wondering if you read last month's PHP Architect that had our little MongoDB article in it, because that was a good one. Did I already do a pitch for PHP Architect? I feel like I did.
We did a little bit, but we didn't talk about how awesome it is, and we're going to be doing final layout tomorrow, hopefully.
Well, and then we also have Graph Database next month, which is really cool.
There's so many good articles next month.
Yeah, really are. We've been talking a lot about Git on the show, and specifically Git bisect. But there's who did it
Git
now?
work.
Was it Chris or Joe? Chris Tankersley does a Git article with Git rebase and Git workflow, which is again something we've talked about in the show way back in the day. We've talked about both those, rebasing and workflows. I think, again, Sarah Goldman is a big Git workflow user as well. Worktree. You're right. Not workflow, Worktree. Thank you for that correction.
I was going to say, there's no such thing as Git workflow. It's Git flow.
What do you know? You're unemployed. Shut up! I'm sorry. That felt a little aggressive.
That was nice. Don't make him cry on the show. Wait till afterwards.
Do it in Rocket League.
All right.
That's right.
Tom, you have a bunch of stuff on your...
I do. I have some really bad news.
You're going to win the lottery too?
Well, I know the first thing I'd do if I won the lottery. Bring back the Choco Taco.
I saw this in your Trello board. I'm like, what the hell is a Choco Taco? What is this thing?
How have you not had a Choco Taco?
I have never had this. I didn't even know this was real. I thought this was a joke.
No, it's not. It's amazingly good. It's so good it should be outlawed, but instead of outlawing it, they're just going to stop making it. It is one of my favorite ice cream treats, but there is a dark side to the Choco Taco.
Yeah, it's chocolate. That's the dark side.
No, it is a couple bites, and it sits at around 220 calories and 8 grams of saturated fat. It is
that a lot?
It is so bad for you. You don't see like skinny people eating Choco Tacos. Let's just say that. Like you see me eating Choco Tacos, but there's no like the guy who's jogging for exercise in the morning, not a Choco Taco fan.
You're muted, John.
Sorry. I did find a way for you to make Choco Tacos at home. There you go.
Yeah. But they're vegan.
Which makes them amazing.
Not my word, but
there you go.
Guess what? There's been an update to Laravel.
All right, next.
Are you angry about that?
The artisan serve command has been redesigned, so it's no longer parsable by anything that you had previously.
Gotta get some more of that red yarn. I got that from my kid. I forget.
I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. You, in fact, responded to somebody on Twitter complaining about the update cycle for Laravel as well.
I responded that they're going to take your spot on the show whenever you leave, because he was complaining about the fact that it's so difficult to keep
that
up
it ruined his week. It ruined his week.
Yeah.
An update from like 922 or 921 to 922 ruined his fucking week. That's ridiculous.
You're reading a lot into it, but yes, he admitted that, and I've admitted that using Laravel, you're making a commitment to staying nimble. You're gonna stay nimble, man. You're staying agile. That's what we call agile in the PHP world, using Laravel. I stand behind the fact. I stand behind the fact that anybody who says, well, keeping your applications up to date with Laravel isn't that hard if you just run Composer upgrade every week, proves to me that you don't understand enterprise, and Laravel is not enterprise ready. Okay,
dude,
I am fine.
Like,
with
yeah,
it,
you're updating your WordPress clone. I don't care. All right, I'm generating PDFs from JSON fetched from 8 sources and parsing it out. And when you change the goddamn JSON parser in a minor version so that I can no longer do that, that is not enterprise. That is backwards breaking in a minor version.
Anybody who's worked enterprise knows it takes like a month to get a patch pushed through. And that's like 2 or 3 weeks of change management board meetings you have to sit through to prove that those patches are good. So if you stand behind Laravel's release cycle, you also are standing behind the fact that Laravel is not quote unquote enterprise. Now, I'm not saying you can't use it in the enterprise. I'm not saying it's not good code. I'm saying it's not enterprise. Okay. And that's one of the reasons.
Yes. And this, yes, it is funny for me to complain about the formatting for the artisan serve command changing, being not backwards compatible. But there's one guy out there who has a project that parsed all of that output from the artisan serve command or from all the artisan commands. There's one guy out there who's absolutely screwed now because it's this totally new dynamic style and he has to completely rewrite his parser. It's just frustrating. And
it's open source.
I've got a solution. Don't use Laravel.
I tell you what, I've had.
You throw out vegan Choco Tacos and say don't use Laravel. Our ratings are just in the freaking
plummet
dump this week.
Here's a change. One of the changes that's in the changelog but not listed on Laravel News: round milliseconds in console output runtime. Oh, good. That was really called for. We needed that. We needed you to start rounding absolute numbers into totally random, not new.
I don't feel like you're being genuine in that.
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying.
And it's frustrating. And I've had phone call after phone call where they say, "Well, tell me about Laravel," and I have to just say, like, well,
I met Taylor once.
The last few, I met Taylor. I ran away. Like the last few years, I've gotten more and more frustrated with some of the issues that Laravel has. And they go, "Oh, what are those issues?" And I said, "God damn it, listen to the fucking podcast if you care."
Become a Patreon supporter, and you would know this.
Speaking of our Patreons,
let's talk about our Patreons for a minute, because one of my kids really, really wants to do a D&D with us. I meant to talk to you guys about this.
I heard about this.
Either one of you guys into D&D?
In theory,
I want to be. I played in high school a few times and I enjoyed it until I got in trouble and I wasn't allowed to hang out with my friend because he was a kleptomaniac. And then I got married.
Where could this go?
And then my wife said no. For years.
Well, you might have to get a reprieve from that, John, because they really want us to do a D&D campaign, like I guess it's called a one-shot, where it's not like an ongoing thing. And I'm thinking about streaming that to our Patreon people. So we always said we weren't going to like separate our content from the Patreons to what we give everybody who wants to view the show. But I think this is like kind of a separate thing, right? This is not us talking PHP or anything like that. This is like this thing that I really don't want a public record of. So
yeah.
I'm
Really
feeling
want
like
to soft delete it as fast as possible.
So wait,
softly delete that thing.
do we have to dress up when we play? Because that's the
Well,
other thing
I'm
my wife
hoping.
won't let me
Don't
do
have
is
to.
do-
I mean, I wasn't planning on wearing any clothes, but that's just me personally. So yeah,
Oh wait, is this strip D&D?
Patreon OnlyFans. That's what I'm saying. No.
Strip D&D has gotten people into a lot of trouble. I'll just let you know that right away.
So all our Patreon supporters out there, first, thank you for supporting us. It
Thank
has,
you.
I mean, it literally has changed the show. We were able to kind of invest in some nicer equipment, things like that. So, and it keeps us going as well. I do
We actually,
appreciate it.
not many people have noticed, but we replaced John with an AI.
Yeah,
There was the one
exactly.
episode where he was broken and didn't say anything for the entire episode. But after that, we got it fixed up and it's working out great.
Yeah, it was just a soft delete. We missed. We fixed it up. It was fine.
Yeah, I got some code leakage or whatever that fucking means.
So I'm trying to figure out how to live stream it just for the Patreon people. Once I figure that out, maybe we'll make that happen. It's not a super high priority for us, but my kids will not let this go. So I feel like this is going to have to be one of those things that, just like all those stupid elementary ballets I had to sit through in the violin classes. Yeah, I'm going to have to do this as well, despite the fact that they're both freaking adults. But
I remember my first high school band performance where after 45 minutes, the teacher thanked everyone for coming. And I was like, wait, what? We're leaving now? It hasn't been 4 hours. Oh. I had an elementary school band concert where each student had a written thing that they wanted to say to the audience before they started their solo.
Oh my God.
And every student did a solo.
I have to say, I joke about it, but I hate to be that person, but my kids were actually pretty talented, so it was hard not to enjoy it. But you had to sit through everybody else's
Well, that's
stuff.
always that's
Everybody
the bummer,
else was
though.
crap.
That's the bummer, though, is that when they're like elementary school, you're like, God, my kids are so talented. They're really like, I can't imagine what they're going to be like as teenagers. And then they're teenagers are like, what the fuck happened? You were so talented. What are you doing?
What are you wearing?
Yeah. What is that in your nose?
Can we get through this phase already?
I'm really glad you like Four Loko, but it's not like a daily drink.
It's not a breakfast drink for sure. You should not be drinking that when you wake up.
No. But hey, no, kids are great.
Yeah, your lawyer makes you say that, right?
Yep. 3 times a day. It's like it's how I schedule brushing my teeth. I say, having kids is such a blessing, and then I go brush my teeth.
Get that taste out of your mouth.
Yep.
All right. Are we good? Are we done? Where are we at on time? I feel like we've talked enough. Wow.
1 hour.
You're just at an hour. So after we cut out all the ands, ums, and buts.
I've got this little thing.
Sure. Lay it on us.
The only Linux command you need to know.
Oh, I cheated on this. I did read this, and
well, cheated is the right word because the command is cheat.
That's right. So let's put this in Discord. And I read this article. I explain it. Explain it, Tom. You explain it, and then I'll move on.
Man files are your standard way of understanding a command in Linux, but they're really written for and by college professors. So they can be a bit dry and usually don't have good examples of what you want to do. The Linux cheat command just gives you commented examples of like, hey, if you're trying to do this, here's the command for it. If you're trying to do this, here's a different command for it. So it's just the examples without the like 8 pages of text about how cat works. Cat is a command that just reads text and streams it out to your console. The man page for it is like 14 pages. Also, the term is man cat, which is great.
Right. So you're gonna explain what cheat does?
Well, yeah. So cheat
it
gives
did.
you cheat sheets. It has cheat sheets for all the standard Linux commands, and it gives you what you would expect a cheat sheet to look like.
Right. So I did read this. I'm like, hey, I remember using something like this, but it wasn't called cheat. I downloaded it. I installed it. It's just a bash script. It's not like you're doing a bunch of a really complicated install. But I installed it. I'm like, man, I remember doing something like this, but I remember I had it configured in my ZSH RC file. Like it was a function I had created. So I did some research and then I started doing some side-by-side testing. So if you go to cheat.sh, right? This is that on steroids, and I'll explain here in a minute. So when I did my side-by-side testing, what cheat gave you and what cheat.sh gives you, cheat gave you like the first portion of cheat.sh, and then cheat.sh gives you other variations. Now, where cheat.sh shines is that you can even do things like PHP array, and they'll explain to you what arrays are in PHP, or Go array, or Go, or anything, a language. So Cheat, the application that Tom was talking about, is really focused on Linux commands like zip, cat, tar, those sort of commands. Cheat.sh expands that to programming languages and the functionality in those programming languages. So what really gets cool is that the API for this is just curl. And this is what Rain started getting me remembering. It's like, oh, that's right. I had this as a function in my ZSH file where it would curl, and then I could pass it the arguments that I wanted to pass it. Super simple and actually very helpful. It's kind of here. Let me add this to Trello.
Yeah, if you want a good example, check out the cheat sheet for awk, AWK, because that's a command
that one gets me all the time. Constantly.
It's one of
every time I go to use it, I have to Google for it.
It's one of the best commands in Linux, but boy, it drives me nuts. I just have no clue how to use it when it comes up.
But the thing to know is to know it exists, to know how to search for it. Just having the cheat sheet doesn't necessarily help you per se, but it would be nice to have once you know the command exists.
You can install it through Go, which is nice. I've been learning Go. It's one of the things on my list of things to teach myself.
And how's that going for you?
You need to teach yourself a little Rust too, man.
Easy enough.
Rust and Lua.
Well, apparently Carbon's the hot new thing. It's the language Google released 6 days ago, and it's already Carbon. Yeah, Google's real good at naming languages. Go, Carbon, stuff that exists and returns search results for other stuff. But yeah, people are already seeing resume requests for 10 years experience in Carbon. Like, no. This
is a C++ replacement.
That's the intention.
Google is so historically popular for supporting their products for so many years.
Yeah.
But Buttery says Carbon will die the same death all Google languages do, but isn't Go a Google language?
Yes.
Is it already dead? I don't know. I don't follow it.
It's like a year and a half old. Usually Google gives them 3 years.
Go's a long older than that. It's gotta be.
I mean, I can just tell you in a second.
But how would you do that?
Oh no, it is first appeared November 2009.
Oh wow,
it's 12 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
I like Go, but I have to. The little I've done with it, I've tried a few times. I like it, but I gotta be honest. I feel like I'm I don't know. I feel like either I'm really bad at computer science and it's teaching me good practices that I should appreciate. But I feel like it's like teaching me, it taught me like bad practices. I don't know. It was weird. It's like, this just doesn't feel like it should work. And it's weird that it does work. And I guess that's good, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel good. Kind of like, yeah.
I haven't researched it at all. What would you use Go for? Or what do people use Go for?
It's a compiled language.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very good compiler, very fast, very quick to write. So those like lazy Git and lazy Docker, those are all written in Go. There's a lot of stuff you can write in Go.
Well,
a lot of
Cheat is written
apps.
in Go, which is why I brought it up.
Yeah, a lot of terminal apps nowadays get written in Go frequently. So I like it. I wanna embrace it. I really got to embrace something. Like I really want to. I know I've
event sourcing and testing
so much, but I really want to contribute to internals. I need to understand C.
I swear to God, I saw some job postings that said shit like, "Hey, we all know that PHP is dying, but if you still support it, we're looking for you." And I'm like,
yeah, that's what you want to work for.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a great opportunity. You asshole. How did you manage
Kubernetes
that?
is written in Go? Did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's so dumb. To say that on an application, on like a page where you're looking for PHP developers. Hey, you know you're working in a dying language, right? Anyways, come work for us. Just drives me nuts.
All right. I think that's it. Are we good? Do we have more to talk about? I think we've talked enough. Tom, you good?
I'm good. I mean, I think
don't
have a job. Don't have a job yet. Still good.
You got nothing to wake up for tomorrow morning. You're fine. You can do this all night.
Haven't woken up in the morning in a long time now, actually.
Well, you look like you're still showering, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. That's
a sign of being married.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, my wife is being very supportive, except for my showering habits. She still insists.
So, I'm running out of baseball caps to wear. I've been wearing a different baseball cap every week.
I noticed.
And I'm getting down to, I'm either going to have to start cycling back through, which I'm fine with doing, or I'm going to have to start wearing my old baseball team caps, because that's pretty much all I have left is just old baseball teams that I
So you're saying a PHPUgly hat is in the works?
I need something. Like, I have like a cowboy hat I've been wearing a lot lately because I've been working outside and it's got the brim around. But yeah, I'm out of caps, man. I'm out of caps. I need to come up with a cap idea. Maybe that's what I'll do this week. Give me your cap ideas, people. But besides that, that's it. That's something to look forward to in episode 297. But for 296, we're going to call it a day, a night, a week. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
I'm unemployed.
Keep it
ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming
Mack
off the top, y'all
so
know how we
Sarah,
do.
I don't know if
I'ma
you heard
drop a
this.
freestyle
I don't know
you
if you
can
guys
cherish.
heard this.
I'ma send a
There
shout out
is
to
an
the host named
initiative
Eric.
in
Yo,
Texas
he's never on
where
some
a
average
group
shit. You
have-
know
have
Eric,
gotten
he stays
together,
loud and passionate.
and
I'm
their
about to break
title
it down
is
for y'all with the
Mothers,
clever song. Yo, shout to host name
Mothers
Thomas, cause
Against
he's never
Drug
wrong. Yo, shout to John.
And they have-
You know they be smart and quiet, unlike
they
my
have
freestyles, which
procured the
cause
whole
a riot. I'm
MAGA
about to do it
slogan.
like
It's
this, cause the
confusing a
people
lot of
love me.
Republicans
Shouts
down
out
there,
to
I think.
PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional.
Who's
But I'm
Greg
about to
Addict? I
come
don't
through
know.
and
You're
bless
Greg
your
Addict.
style. So let's do it
Be
when
right
I'm
back.
spitting. I perfume the room.
Greg
Yo, the
Abbott is
segment of the show is
the
called Doom and
horrible
Gloom. That came from
governor
Thomas.
of
Yeah,
Texas,
can nobody
and
go
he's doing
beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to
crap
keep it like a
job.
promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with
He should
anguish. We
be out
talking
of a
about the
job.
PHP, the
He really
programming
probably should be in
language.
prison,
About to
but
break it down, no
whatever.
exaggeration. What do
It's
y'all do
just
for a
he's
living?
not
Web
treating
applications.
women
Okay,
and
I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. A few true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man.
Speaking of
which,
channel
John,
is
doing real well on
we're
YouTube.
in Florida.
Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy.
So Daytona Beach,
Stay up.
Orlando.
Yeah. Okay. So the individual I had dinner with is from
Which you never did disclose who that was.
outside of Orlando. Well, you just don't pay enough attention to me because I posted the picture and name on Twitter. Everybody should know who it is. It's
I saw it in Discord, but not.
Yeah, you blocked me. Yeah. Jeffrey Davidson is out here. And so I wrote
Thanks for the invite. You were like down the street from me, but I see how it is.
To be fair, the invite came from Jeffrey, not from me. So he's the one that didn't invite you.
Thanks,
you
Jeffrey.
Take that up with him. I didn't want to bring it up, but
To be fair, I was in Palm Springs anyway, but I did notice, and I was like, I know that place just from the picture.
Yeah. So he's from around Orlando. I'm not going to say where, but honestly, I don't remember where. But he's from around Orlando. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure John was from that area.
Yep, I was. Winter Springs.
I'm not going to. I told you the other night, Jeffrey. I'm not going to kiss you. I'm not going to kiss you. Stop asking me.
So, I have an interesting story for you guys. I was doing one of these code
Winter Springs,
tests,
Winter Park,
and they needed me to do some JavaScript front end. They needed me to find the closest point to the one that you had entered. So you'd entered A and B, and you needed to find the next closest point on a list of points that you had submitted previously. And I just sort of,
and you were able to do it easily because you get a PHP architect subscription, right?
So I got the points, the existing points loaded in a JSON array, and I was like, shit, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. So I just started typing public function find closest point from, and then it filled out the entire rest of the function.
Your Copilot?
The Copilot filled the whole thing out, including the required attributes to the function and the return value that I was asking for. Like, just fucking did it. It wrote like 6 lines of code in JavaScript, and I was just like, oh, cool. All right. Yeah, no, I'm good at this.
I'm really smart.
Yeah. It's like,
hey, Jeffrey, listen. Don't you listen to John. Don't listen to him. You remember how you were talking?
Please keep listening to us.
Jeffrey,
don't do what
you were
Eric is
just
saying.
talking about how nice you thought it was that I drove an hour to come meet you, give you some stickers. Yes, that's right. He got swag, and have dinner with you.
But you made him pay.
Ask John. Has he come to visit his business partner since moving the same distance?
I tried telling you I was going to be up your way, and then you're like, nope, I got COVID. Don't come near me.
That's nice.
I don't think up your way was exactly what you said, but...
Well, look at all this stuff. Where'd you get that from?
I'm pretty sure I didn't share that with you.
These came with my elephants.
Please. That was a mistake. You weren't supposed to get all that stuff. Those are rare. Those are like NFTs, man. You shouldn't have that.
No, these are actually worth what they're printed on. NFTs are not.
Sarah, are you giving us what that question is, or was that what Tom said?
I mean, like
she has the hook. He can now create a video and get millions of people to subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, exactly.
or view
How
his
to be
video.
how to be interviewed. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see.
I was afraid because I did have one interview that wanted me to do a little live coding session, and I was afraid he would think I was cheating if he saw my screen. But fortunately, we did it on like a shared code pen thing.
Yeah, that's
so you had PHP Storm over here or VS Code, and you
like
got it. And
like those
copy-paste.
people who cheat at chess. You know, they have their little computer over here. They're running the things. And...
It was these really simple questions. He basically, first off, the interview was strange because it was very much an alternate universe me that I was interviewing with. Like, got on the phone call and I was like, oh, 10 years ago, the beard was a little more scraggly and my eyes were a little less tired, but exactly the same, like everything else is me. And he was like, hi. And I was like,
Hi, me
yeah.
in the future.
I was like, yeah, it's weird, right? And then we did the rest of the interview. And but he's like, the coding test things are terrible. I can tell if you know what you're talking about by listening to you talk. So just walk me through these like 3 functions that I've written down that have problems in them or need to be finished. And it was like a 10-minute thing. And I was like, got to the last one. He wanted a username from a user ID from a PDO call. And I was like, okay, yeah, this, don't pass the parameter directly, pass it through a secured PDO function so that you're not exposing yourself to SQL injection. He goes, and I said, and then you're not actually handling exceptions here. So let's go ahead and create an exception class for this. And we're going to actually say user not found exception class. And he goes, okay, no, you got the answer. Don't worry. It's like, man, I'm bored. Help me.
Please talk to me for another couple hours.
I've interviewed at some places.
I don't want to go do the litter box.
I've interviewed at some places where it's like their description of the job is just like, yeah, you're going to be in developer hell. It's going to be terrible. 4 different legacy systems that all speak different languages. One of them is code.
Different versions.
One of them's SOAP. One of them's jQuery, and one of them is just raw XML. And you're going to bring these 4 systems and just maintain them forever. And I was like, certainly I'm not. Like that is not what I'm doing. And then he asked, that was the one I told you. He asked me for my my compensation requirements, and I told him, and he just went, whoa, no, they won't let me do that. It's like, we've been talking for an hour, man. This really cool guy. And he was like an old timer. I got to talk to him about all the tech from the 90s, like PBX systems, because he's doing call center stuff and like all this really old stuff I worked on. It was fun, but ultimately went nowhere.
All right. Title suggestions. We have a few here, but I kind of have my own. I was thinking.
What, Tom is wrong again? I
Was
wasn't wrong. I was 100% right. That article's bullshit.
Yeah, I was gonna go. Actually, now that you said that, you should have used that whole Copilot thing on the show, because we could have tied in. I was gonna say cheating with PHP to tie in.
I talk about Copilot too much.
Yeah. I mean, I can still use cheating with PHP. The tie-in was that whole cheat thing we talked about at the end. But
here's the best thing.
Let me read the titles. Hold on.
All right.
Because I'm trying to get the post stuff done, and it takes me. I got to get it done. So before you start rambling, the cure for your soft deletes will end your life. Choco Taco, no longer the taste of a new generation. And helping Tom love Laravel with every minor release. I'm going to cheating with PHP.
How about
or either or PHP
soft deletes are bullshit. We can't have that in the title.
No, pretty sure that would be frowned upon.
I did do call center PBX stuff a long time ago.
Hey, I still do it.
I'd say that's what John does now. What are you talking about?
I've been doing that for way too long.
Had an interview with Motorola, and they said that they're working on a license plate identification platform.
Damn it, I hate when that happens.
And I was like, oh, gee, I don't think I'm going to do that.
I know what that is. I did that. I did a ORM, like a license plate reader.
Yeah. It
It's
was
super simple. I mean, literally, I coded it. That's how easy it is.
Working on greenfield stuff with Copilot is just, it's so hilarious because I've been doing TDD exclusively for all these projects I've been sent, and it's like you name the test verbosely, and it writes the whole thing, and then you just code until it works. It's bizarre.
I can't right now with my desktop.
What's going on with your desktop?
I got the tiling thing going on, and I'm trying to move my window. Move my windows around.
Should reformat. It's really easy.
Shut up.
Just comes naturally to me.
I actually just did that with my laptop today.
Oh,
Hey,
did
I can sudo again.
Oh, that's nice. It's handy to have.
I don't know how I got my laptop set up where I couldn't. I did.
Oh my god.
You got a user created that's not in the sudoers file.
Right. I don't know how I did that because I literally just booted up the machine when I got it, went through the setup, and it should have done it automatically.
Yeah, Linux. Yeah.
He's
I love
drinking a
some of
Voodoo
these
Ranger.
some of these interview questions I get, like, so do you know Linux? And I'm like, man, who does? Like that I could answer yes and no to that question, and both of those be correct.
I appreciate both your feedback on what the title should be. That was very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I've got the experimental version of that.
What are you guys drinking? What is this Voodoo Ranger stuff?
Have you tried the
drinking?
Juicy? The super juicy, or the fighter pilot, or whatever they call it?
Is it the Juicy Haze? The hazy?
No. Let me find it.
What are you guys putting in your bodies? That just sounds horrible.
Drink your whiskey and edit the podcast.
You're talking like a manager already.
No, it's not more sour. It's an IPA, so it's more bitter. It's hoppy.
Yeah. All right. They have a beer that's just named Queer now. Juice Force IPA.
Nope, have not had that one.
So I will warn you right off the bat. It is very good. It's very much got an orangey, juicy flavor to it. Goes down easy. 9.5%.
So right up my alley.
It is a risky drink.
All right.
Most of my beers are that 8 to 10%.
Tom, give me a
7.
I got caught. Look, take your headphones off and just give me that look like you were busted cheating.
Like cheating on my hand?
No, stare at me like I caught you.
What's you open? Oh, I can't hear.
Yeah, I figured you could see me. Open your mouth.
Say please. Yeah, you're not my wife. Open your mouth.
Got a pretty mouth.
Yeah, this Juice Force is So good. It's a hazy.
Check it out.
I'm interested
If
in
I can find it.
I'm interested in this beer de queer. Brewed for all with pride. I mean, corporate sponsorship. What are you gonna do? I just don't like New Belgium, but they're located real close to Colorado Springs, so that's just what everyone has.
Oh, so that's what I was trying to get to. That was one of the funniest things I had ever heard come out of my kid's mouth, and I can't quote it exactly how they quoted it, but I had said something, and they said, "Man, you're going to have to show me that corkboard red yard room you have," or something like that. I'm like, that is so awesome. What are you doing?
Well, so
whoa,
So you don't hear that, Tom, or you don't hear that, John, when he talks like that?
what?
that time I did. Like,
Am I
right after
peeking?
he.
You're
Yeah,
peeking.
yeah,
That's what it is.
that
I've been hearing
time-
it all night.
See, I haven't.
How about now?
There, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's way better, but you guys wouldn't listen to me earlier, so what do I know?
Couldn't hear you. Had you muted? Do you know what that reference is, though, that your kids are giving you?
No, I do not.
It's a reference
He doesn't
to.
either. He's looking it up.
No, I'm looking up the picture of it. Pepe Sylvia. That's what
You're still peeking for me. Well, what is a Pepe Sylvia? I don't know what that is.
I'm gonna send you the picture.
I'm a little busy, but sure. Oh, that's Philadelphia. What's it? Always Sunny in Philly or something?
Yeah, Sarah and I got that at the same time.
Yeah,
but-
It's Always Sunny.
All right, that's gonna work.
Sarah, great minds think alike. Just saying.
So do bad ones.
At least I'm in good company.
That's where I just was. Good company.
All right, I'm hanging up. I gotta go to bed.
All right. I'm not. I got nothing to do tomorrow. It's not true. I have 2 scheduled phone calls and 3 unscheduled phone calls.
Huh? How do you unscheduled? How do you know you have phone calls if they're not scheduled?
Because they're recruiters, and I get a very set amount per day that I answer. And it's very annoying. It's the recruiters say, like, hey, I'll give you a call tomorrow. But then, like, when it's an actual meeting with somebody at the company, it's, like, scheduled on my calendar.
And then a recruiter calls while you're on the phone with that company?
Yes.
Of course.
It's happened twice.
Fun stuff. All right. Good night, everybody.
Night, John.
You guys sticking around?
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
This D&D thing. Get the kids over here. We need to talk about this.
What kids? My kids? My
Yeah,
kids are
the ones
one of
running
them-
the D&D stuff.
Well, that's gonna be hard to do because the one who wants to run it is at work,
Oh.
and then the other one is up in San Francisco. So
There's a D&D Beyond, which is a digital manager for your character sheet and die rolls and stuff. And
you don't need to talk to me about this stuff. I have no idea about any of it.
that'll be fun because I'm actually very good at screwing with people in D&D.
Yeah, I have zero comprehension on any of this stuff.
That's just a story.
Yeah,
That's
what. So M's the one that wants to be DM. Is that it? Yeah, DM. I did that wrong. Shit. Oh, that's what I did wrong. Oh shit! I gotta fix that now. Okay. What do I need to do? I need to take off your beard. Is what I need to do. You're gonna lose some of your beard there, buddy. There's just no way around it. No way around it. Shouldn't have been cheating. I wouldn't have to remove this beard. So we're gonna take this much off, maybe? Like maybe this? Maybe that looks right? Let's see what that looks like. Does that maybe look good? Show original image? Oh, nope, that's not what it was. Show this. And no, let's restore. We're gonna give you a little bit of your beard back, bud. Give you back down to right about there. Let's see, how's that look? Does that look good?
I can't see anything you're doing.
Yeah, of course you can. It's better that way. Much better.
Goodbye,
that way.
Sarah.
Bye, Sarah. Restore. She can't hear us, right? We just said goodbye to her, and she's unable to hear us.
Yes. Why couldn't she?
Oh, are we still streaming?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I wouldn't have said some of the things I said had I known we were still streaming.
All right. Well, we're gonna stop streaming now then.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.